Welcome to another episode of the Holistic Sister Circle. Today we have Supriya with us, and she is an intuitive chakra alignment coach for spiritual, heart-centered individuals and entrepreneurs. And Supriya, we are so excited to have you here. Can you just share with us a little bit about who you are and the type of work that you do?
Yeah, sure. So I'm an intuitive chakra alignment coach. What I do is I help people align themselves to their highest reality using their chakras or energy centers in their body. Everybody has energy centers. And actually these energy centers go back to the Vedic times, into the Vedic and Upanishad texts. So what I do is I actually help people align them to manifest their highest reality.
Amazing. Can you go into a little bit about what that means?
Yes. So what I do is I actually help heal people. So heal people spiritually and heal people on a practical level. Whether it's like a business owner, if they're a business owner, I actually help them see what is blocked, and see where they're blocked in their body. And so, for example, like a solar plexus chakra is about confidence. So that is what we work on for that client. So, and confidence and all of that, and whatever comes up, throw is communication. So, and in business, that's actually your marketing and your communications too. So that is what I do. I help them realign themselves into their path.
Wow. So how would they know for certain if this is something that they need right away without studying like the chakras and knowing about and also too, sorry, one more thing. Can you actually go into the chakras and what that is and what that means for those who don't know?
Yeah, chakras. So it's pronounced as chakras. So I always tell people chakras. It's that's actually how it's pronounced. I always tell people it's like Chuck Norris, and I'm creating a shirt about that right now. It's Chuck Norris with the chakras. So the chakras are energy centers. There are 7 main ones in your body, actually, and there's some people that work with 14 different chakras, and those deal with the outer body. And everything else in your bodies, we actually have chakras everywhere. So the energy center are the 7 main ones, and then the outer body. But then we have energy centers in our hands, for example. So, and then if you look at the entire energy body that's described in the Vedic texts and in the Upanishads text, which that's where they come from. That's where the whole chakras come from, those texts. And what they do is they actually have these centers. They actually align the body with these centers, and they call that nadhi. Nadhi are those, is what they call them when these lines cross. And it's actually quite interesting because, back in those times and the ancient times, they actually used the chakras to diagnose issues in the past. So diagnose issues on what's going on with you mentally and physically.
Wow. Okay. So say if we were to do, and this is hypothetical, but I think it's super cool to do like a demonstration.
Yes.
So say I am working with you and I'm coming in as an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Can you walk me through like what this session would look like, what you need from me? Yeah, let's like do a demo for the audience.
Sure, this is fun. Okay. So what I would do is, you wouldn't need anything just from you and your beautiful like face right there. I actually do read off of pictures too. I can read off that. I've been reading off of pictures since I was, 16 years old. So let's go in real quick. Okay, you have a hazy, what I like to call a hazy crown, which means you're connected to source, but you don't always trust it. So you don't always trust what might be coming to you.
That's true.
You do have a pretty powerful intuition, though, really open, but you don't always trust what's coming to you, though. So you're like, ooh, I'm a little bit doubtful. All right, throat. This is not surprising to me. Throat is pretty open. You're very powerful with your voice. Very powerful. You can speak out, and speak into whatever is going on around you. Heart chakra, a little bit extended is what I like to call. It's kind of leaking into the shoulders. So the heart chakra is extended. It's leaking into the shoulders and into other places, which means you have to be aware of energy vampires that have to be around you. So it means that you're an empath and being aware of boundaries and energy vampires that could be around you. Solar plexus. Okay, so it's a little bit blinking for me. And it's so funny because how I see things is like, I see things as hazy or halo. That's actually how I see the chakras in people. So when I see something that's blinking, it means it kind of needs attention. So you know how there's a blinking light, like a car with your blinker, it means like caution or
hazard light. Yeah.
But when it blinks like fast, that is like immediate attention for me. So it's kind of like a slow blinking, which means it's caution. Means you're working on it. Whatever you had in there, you're working on it. In there, working on self-confidence, self-esteem. You might have had something going on when maybe you were 10 to 12-ish. That may have led to some self-worth, unconfidence issues. Now, when I go into your sacral, I'm seeing like a little bit of a halo effect. You're not entirely into your divine feminine energy. You can sometimes get it. You can sometimes be a little bit more masculine. Very common with with women who are entrepreneurs. Simply because we live in more of a masculine environment when we are in our business a lot. Very, very, very common with women who own their own businesses or really just, really dominant in their lives, very, very much asserting their dominance in their lives. I see this a lot. So what that means is that you might get into a little bit more of your masculine than your feminine. Also, this could also mean you have trouble digesting your emotions. And that that goes into your solar plexus, but that also goes into your sacral. And if it's really blocked, that might mean you have hormonal issues coming into play. So we have I've seen people have things like PCOS come up in these types of readings too. So that is what that's what those that chakra specifically means. So what we need to get into the root, and for you, I'm actually seeing a positive blinking energy with you, which means that it's blinking, but it's not blinking in, it's blinking out, which means coming in, money coming in, and there's there's something solid is happening. So if there's something bad happening before, something's happening now where your foundation's getting settled and you're working on it a little bit more. So yeah, and of course, the root chakra is survivability chakra. It's your foundation, family, relationships, core relationships, home, shelter, food, things like that. And of course, things like money, too. So that is what these chakras really represent. And for you, I'm seeing it go outward, which means that you may have had an issue before with money, or foundation or home or things like that, but it's kind of settling down.
You read all of that, and all I did was have to look at you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. I'm just so intrigued by this because what you're saying is so true. All of the things you're saying are accurate. So what would be the next step? What would I do with this information?
So what I would do is I would tell you okay, if you're working on your roots, for your roots, if you're working on it and you want more, obviously do some of the manifestation steps to get more money, all that stuff. However, if there is a bigger lower chakra issue, which I'm not seeing as much for you, but if somebody were to have a general lower chakra issue, which I do see in a lot of women, and in some men too, but mostly in women, I would just tell them, like, go ground yourself into the earth, outside. That actually penetrates like a lot of those chakras as well. You can also like do some bouncing exercises, like actually go and like bounce to the ground. Like, yeah, like bounce and shake that out. Yeah, exactly. Those are some physical things you can do. Now, emotional, you can journaling out like what are the issues happening with, let's say, sacral. Sacral deals with the ages, I believe, of 8 to 15. 8 to 15, and that also deals with that overlaps with the solar plexus too. That also goes into shadow work and inner child work. So yeah, because what you want to do is kind of get into the deep root. Because yeah, you can do the I am affirmations and all that. All of that stuff is putting a band-aid over what's really happening. And the cool thing is that what I see, and like when I actually do my deep Reiki sessions and all that with people, I'm like, I actually see an attachment, a cord attachment to your, sacral root or whatever from the time. And I can actually see the age. And I'm like, from the time that you were 10 to 12, there was something that happened that kind of prevented you from moving forward to where you are now. So, and then I'm like, okay, let's journal for 21 days to that person and knowing that you love that person into that area.
Wow. Okay. This is so interesting. So for people who don't know what Reiki is, can you clarify that?
Yeah. Reiki is like a Japanese form of energy healing. And it's a very ancient form of energy healing. And I believe there is like thousands upon thousands of Reiki practitioners all around the world. And I'm definitely one of them. And there are some that are they're Reiki masters, which actually teach more people to do Reiki as well. So there's all sorts of types of energy healing. I actually did a golden ball healing meditation before I did Reiki, and that's what I was using with people for a long time before I got certified in Reiki. So I've done that for a while, and chi, like Tai Chi, like all of that stuff before then. But yeah, like Reiki to me is a really, really cool form of, energy healing. It's a really cool form of energy, but there's many different ways.
Right. Okay. So we know what Reiki is. We know the chakras.
Chakras.
Yes. Chakras. Now, for really an entrepreneur to embrace what it is that you're saying and to actively do the things that you share to get through it. So for example, we talked about my light blinking outward, like the roots blinking outward, right? For someone who, and again, I'll be very transparent from a financial standpoint, it was very, very tough for me.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why was last year I was actually laid off from my job. And then right after that happened, I was like, okay, I literally have 3 months to kind of figure this thing out. And within those 3 months, it was like failure after failure after failure of me learning, of course, and then just like failing forward. And I started in this process, I started really building a community. And I'm just like, okay, I have this community, but I have no idea how to help them. All I know how to do is just talk. And I'm just like, I don't know what else to do. So I started asking questions and things like that and really, really learning more about people and what it is that they want. And anyway, I'm sharing this with you. The point of the story is when you are saying, outward, and it's coming, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the things that if this was happening, me and anyone else, especially those who are empaths, because a lot of the people that I actually attract are empaths as well. I think this would help them tremendously. What are some of the things that you would recommend that they focus on to ensure that they're continuously moving in that direction to manifest what they want or what they need?
Oh yeah, you definitely, like what you need to do is you need to be consistent, being consistent in what you do. And having things that people around you supporting you. So there's only like, I had to learn this the hard way. If there's people just not supporting you, you kind of have to find the leak. And sometimes a leak is coming within you. And yeah, sometimes it is. But sometimes a leak is happening in your own home or in your own place. It's kind of like, finding the leak in the box before you drown. I don't know if you've ever played that game, but like that's like, but there's a game where like there's a man like trying to like get out of this box or room or whatever, and he's trying to find a leak. And sometimes and finding those energy, and in this case the leak is energy, finding those energy leaks into where they're happening. Now sometimes the leak could be happening in your own family, sometimes it could be happening in your close circle of friends, sometimes the leak could be happening within you, sometimes it could be both. So you have to be consistent on setting boundaries with people and being consistent on what you are doing to regulate yourself. And regulating yourself, like by doing bouncing or going out and grounding yourself, or taking a salt bath three times a week. Or even
so nice. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like salt bath, or I mean, you can even have a massage, but I don't recommend doing that unless you want to do that 3 times a week. I don't know, but or having like doing something that will make you feel good inside. And why I recommend grounding. Grounding anybody can do. It's totally free. You could just go outside and put your bare feet into grass. Touch the grass with your bare feet, or even hug a tree. Hugging a tree takes less time. You can do it for 5 minutes. And if somebody calls you weird, just tell them to do it with you. Like, you probably need to hug a tree too. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, or you could just put your back to the tree or lean against a tree with your back. If you don't feel like actually hugging a tree, you really can just lean back against the tree and feel that energy coming into the tree. Because whether people know it or not, these things are alive as you and I are, and they're there to give you energy as much as you give it. So, and it's all coming from Gaia, the earth. So, and Gaia, like the earth, it has energy coming into it, and it's there to give you energy as much as you give it. It's symbiotic.
I love that. Okay. Now, next question is, if someone, like I said, we have a ton of entrepreneurs in the community. If they were looking to connect with you, like, what does that process look like? How can they learn more? Like, tell us.
Yeah, if anybody's interested, I do offer like a complimentary discovery call. And what we do is we go over your business, like what you do, what your goals are. And I do give like a quick overview, just like how I did right here, a quick overview of where I feel like you're blocked in. And then I just tell you like exactly like what I could do for you. And like go from there. I work with individuals as well as business owners. So, and it really goes and depends on what they need. Sometimes people just need a life coach. Even if they're a business owner, they just need a life coach. Or sometimes they really do need business and marketing and all that help too. So it does vary.
Okay, this is really good. So let me piggyback for a second, because I want to make sure I am being fair to everyone that's listening as well. For the entrepreneur, and I will do 2 sides for a second. So for the entrepreneur, let's say that they're looking for business and marketing help.
Mm-hmm.
What does that process look like? And we could do me as an example. So like I come to you and I share, for my business, I actually help coaches fill virtual events. So whether it's one-to-one or one-to-many, that's what we do aside from the podcast. And I'm sharing this with you. Then what would that next step look like?
Yeah. So I actually go into your business. I see what could potentially be the block be. I see you and your chakras and see where the block's in there. And I actually help in fill in the gaps. and say like, okay, I need clients like this a month. So working one-on-one, I need 3 or 4 clients. Like, what can I do to make that happen? And I'm like, okay, let's look into where you're currently marketing and where that block is. And if I see if there's an obvious block with your marketing, obviously that's throat chakra. But I also see what is the confidence barrier with the inner chakra. And I actually worked with a client with on this, her confidence barrier with that. And we found out her confidence barrier was just her not being able to process her voice and her emotions properly. So she can do that. So, and I also had another client that had issues going live. And like, that was her biggest block, going live on like social media. And now she like goes live almost every other day, you know? So
I love that. These are the things that we need, right? And we'll talk more about this when we're done, but this is awesome. Okay, so if I'm an individual and say I'm just someone who just another portion of our audience that also listens to us, they're very hardworking. They are really looking to honestly transition. A lot of them are looking to transition out of their 9-to-5 into a business that they love, but scared, fearful, afraid of not really knowing because of the financial security that they believe to be true, right? So if there is an individual walking in, kind of coming to you within this sense, haven't necessarily started a business or anything yet, but just doesn't like where they're in their career.
I help with those guys too. And like what I tell them is like, okay, there is a root chakra block, because obviously we're dealing with financial and all that stuff. I actually deal with the lower chakras first with individuals like this. And then I actually go into their relationships, specifically the relationship they have to their self, because we're dealing with a lot of confidence issues. And fear, and there's a lot of fear, and there's a lot of fearful blocks. And then that's what I do. I help them clear those blocks and help them see what their path is, so we can build something off of that. And so when they get to their business, they actually know exactly what to do.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful that we had an opportunity to connect and have you on the show.
Yes.
Without further ado, what is just one practical step that you can share with everyone that if they wanted to take something away from this episode today, they can implement right away? I feel like I know what you're going to say, but I'm going to let you talk anyways.
Yeah. What you could do today is you could just go outside. Well, actually it's dark out right now, but don't do it right now. But go outside when the sun's out, go outside. And just put your feet on the grass. Like, put your feet on the grass like 10 to 15 minutes, and literally you can even do it for 5 minutes every day. If it's too much for you, you could do it for 5 minutes every day in your front yard. If you don't have a yard, go on your deck. Actually, it rained out today, so putting your feet into a puddle is actually amazing too. If there is like rain. Now, in the winter, I had a bunch of people come to me and say, it's winter, it's freezing out, what do you want me to do? That's a great place to just hug a tree for like 30 seconds. But if you can't do that, if you absolutely can't, there are grounding mats. There are grounding mats that you can just buy on Amazon.
Okay. I'm learning new things too. I love this. Amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. And it's next time.
Yep. Until next time.
Queen, thank you so much for tuning in. It truly warms our heart that you're taking the time out of your day to connect with us. If you'd like to connect with our guests further, you can find their information located in the description section of this episode. And if you found this episode helpful, share with another queen. And don't forget to connect with the Holistic Sister Circle on Instagram and Facebook. And until next week, stay blessed. Mwah.